Hello, welcome to Season 4 of How to Play D&D, the explainer podcast with one experienced Dungeon Master and one failed scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is Lewis McCaffery. Hello, Lewis.
Hello, Connor. How are you?
Hello, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
We're back in the room, literally.
We are.
We're
Still segregated into this room.
Yes, we are. Hopefully they'll let us out soon.
Literally. I mean, we've got a bucket in the corner to piss in. That's all we need.
And piss?
Yeah, and the same bucket to drink out of. So.
Oh no. I've just been pissing my pants and drinking that bucket of beer.
That's beautiful.
Which I did think it was weird that the beer tastes like Rice Krispies.
Why does your piss taste like... Wait, why does my piss taste like Rice Krispies?
I pissed in my pants like a real man.
True. I wonder why it smelled beautifully.
Don't call me Connor Poo Poo Pee Pee Pants for nothing.
I'm changing your name on my phone now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thanks for that.
Okay, yeah, So we'll go straight into it. Can you guess what today's episode is about? The DM season. I'll keep bringing it up. Yep. More for us to remember.
Yeah, I'll be honest. All I can think about now and every other day is piss.
Yeah.
So
hey, when you've got it inside you all the time, sometimes it's not just yours.
Yeah.
How can you forget?
Outside,
yeah,
it's everywhere.
Why not? Keeps you warm and hydrated.
Yeah, and it's a nice shower.
Well, you're right. It is about piss. Let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is on Homebrew monsters. not urine. Yeah. Perfect. So we should do a piss man stat block.
Perfect. Done.
There's an okay.
It's not just like our Instagram page.
My jaw hurts. There's an insane amount of monsters in D&D, but sometimes you just can't find that exact creature you are after, and so you look through the King James Bible for ideas on how it should look. You look through your parents' divorce papers for names to call your creature, or perhaps you watch enough anime to just say fuck it, let's name him after a vegetable and give it godlike powers.
Yeah.
Goku, Vegeta, Gohan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking of vending machines, but that's my strange housemate influence.
Okay, Lewis.
Yes.
I've been drawing pictures of my dream girlfriend again whilst at work when I was caught and given a disciplinary. Should I really be disciplined for giving her snake hair? Should I be subjected to ridicule for drawing her in a green scaly dress? And should I be fired for giving her proportionate boobs rather than those cartoon boobs that everybody loves? What am I doing? And why is it Mike Wazowski's girlfriend?
That's horrible. Oh, I mean, I think what you're probably doing is accidentally drawing this while locking in eye contact with the grumpy old fart at the end of The Office. So she thinks you're drawing her, and you are.
I am. I wish.
Yeah. But what you're doing, I don't know, I think that's sexual harassment in the workplace, to be completely honest.
To like a Medusa person in the corner.
It's beautiful.
Okay, well.
Depends what face you give it, to be honest. Does the face resemble anyone? The only correct answer I'll accept here is me.
Yes. Sure.
Okay.
It does resemble someone.
Perfect.
Also, can I just say, that's the first time I've ever done one of those questions, and it's actually been relative to the topic. In 65 episodes.
Homebrew.
It's a homebrew monster.
Yeah, of course. I thought you were going to say it's really relative to why you got sacked from your last job or something. I was going to be like,
yeah, fair enough. That's what happens. Mike Wazowski's girlfriend is always on my mind.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Roz is she called? Oh no, that's not a girl.
I never asked their names. I just like to draw them from afar.
That's beautiful. I'm thinking of the snail.
Okay. What makes you think? Okay, I need to create a monster rather than just taking from the books.
Okay.
What makes you think,
yeah.
Okay, I need to create a monster rather than taking from the books? I just needed to say it that way for the joke.
Thanks. I thought you just shut down. I was worried I'd gonna have to start performing CPR or something.
Oh, God.
So there are so many reasons why you could want to homebrew one or find a homebrew monster instead. Like I said, if one doesn't meet your theme perfectly, or whether you need it to have certain abilities or skills, or even if you just need to have it be able to do something that's not necessarily in D&D,
right? Yeah.
then as long as it's not broken, there's no harm in you creating that, and you can do whatever you want with that, as long as, like I said, as long as you're not creating someone that's impossible to kill or it's just some bullshit ruling, then there's no harm in creating something new if you're comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Okay. How do you go about giving them names and moves, for example?
Names, usually, it depends on what they do. So,
Okay.
like, for example, let's look at some of the homebrew monsters you've created in the Black Shots campaign. Like, there's the Corpse Cart Titan, as an example, which, in fact, do you want to describe that? You'll describe it better.
He is... I wish I had the miniature here now.
That would be cool.
It is a giant, or a titan, that is kind of leaning on a wagon to hold itself up.
Yep.
And it's skeletal, and it's picking up people and putting them on the cart, and then its stomach is consuming them.
Yeah, so... It's very cool.
Corpse.
Yep.
It's a cart.
It's
titan.
literally a Titan corpse on a cart. So
Simple.
you can literally just do things like that. Or if you want to be a bit more mysterious with it, if you find a name, for example, let's say if this is a humanoid that can speak and like a shapeshifter or changeling kind of person, you can find words in Latin or things like that, or in different languages that sound cool but mean like deceiver or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you can literally name it Bob if you want, like from Monsters vs. Aliens.
And arguably, most of the time, when they're really simple characters with just a name like Steve or Bob or Miguel, there we go. See, it's like that they, for some reason, really stick with players more than Gyar and the Abomination.
Yeah, Miguel is a legend. We need to do an episode just on Miguel.
On Miguel, yeah, that's true.
Please.
But yeah, so
that's how I would. It just depends on what kind of thing it's going for. Do you need it to just be something simple like Corpse Cart Titan that says exactly what it is, or do you need it to be something a bit more in the way that makes players think, kind of thing?
Yeah, and when it comes to moves, is that the same for that? You're not necessarily then you can name them what you want, but creating something that isn't in D&D, you're obviously probably going to look back at the ruling of something familiar to it in D&D, I'm guessing, and then you're going to name it that. But those moves you come up with are based around its appearance or what you feel like it could be, what's plausible that it could do.
Yeah, definitely. It's like how we did the... when we created the Santa stat block, for example, we used actual spells and things like that, but we called it things like a sack of presents or the what do we call it, like the Jolly Step or something like that instead of a Misty Step. So you can either name it something themed to the character or something themed into what it does. So for example, if you're creating some kind of homebrew themed vampire lord, and you want it to have some kind of ability, I don't know, like where it like literally drains blood like out of your skin from afar, for example. You could literally call that blood drain or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be complicated.
And what you got to remember is, unless you're dishing out these stat blocks for other people to use, only the DM will know the names of them anyway. They're not gonna, unless it's like very anime, they just say what they do, like blood drain. Like I don't know when it's gonna.
Which I want to be in a campaign like
pee
that.
in bucket.
Yes, sir.
Drink pee from bucket.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like exactly. So as long as it kind of makes sense. Also, I think the same for the damage and the ruling of the moves is. I don't think personally, when I'm creating them, you need to stick to, and it will go into our next question as well. You don't need to stick to. Well, a creature that level wouldn't be able to do that. I think it's more than fine to do that because you want it to be competitive. Yeah. But competitive in the sense that the players go, well, we can't let them do that again, rather than, oh, this guy is literally just looking to kill me today.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You instantly establish that things can be done by this creature, and we need to, as a group or singularly, to stop it.
Like I've always said to you, that I think D&D should have a challenging aspect. Your characters should know that they are mortal, and that if they fuck up or if you go in guns blazing all the time, you likely won't last long.
Yes.
So there's no harm in some kind of effect that does a crazy high amount of damage, as long as one, you're not going to abuse it, so it needs to be like a recharge option maybe, so you can do it once and you have to wait a while.
Yeah, I think that's the instant like go to buffer.
Exactly.
It can do a crazy powerful thing as long as it doesn't kill them, and you know it will.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, and you should make sure it can't kill them.
Yeah.
Because what's the point? They can kill in 1 or 2 hits.
Exactly.
But it should definitely have a recharge as a buff. That's like the first rule I put in.
I think a good, maybe rule of thumb when creating massive effects like this, or very powerful ones, is that let's say if it's a saving throw and you have a look at all your players' save DCs or their whatever it is, and you work out the damage if they had have failed, the average damage. If the average damage on a fail would wipe them all out instantly, you've probably made it too strong.
Yeah.
If it would do half of all of their health, that's fine, or even like 3/4, because not everyone will likely fail, and as long as they will have ways to heal or ways to fight back or avoid it, that kind of thing.
And like you said, that kind of thing, that's still a hell of a lot of power. So it's not that you shouldn't do that, but you should definitely go, all right, well, this thing can't do that all the time.
Exactly. And I don't know if this is going on to another question, but on the topic of this, like, if you're planning something, a monster, you want to be able to do crazy high damage, there's always 3 things, or 2 out of 3 things a monster should be able to do that you're creating. It should either do crazy damage, have crazy high health, or be able to move really quickly, like move around a lot. It should never be able to do all 3, because then that's overpowered. Yeah. But let's say you've got a monster that does crazy high damage and it has crazy high health. You can run away, dash, and it might take 4 turns trying to catch up to you again.
Yeah.
Or if you've got a monster that does crazy high damage, it can move around a lot, then you're going to have a hard time getting to it, but the turn you do, you'll pummel it like within an inch.
It's essentially like rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. You've got to be able, your player's got to be able to have one of those winning element, one of those winning hands that it doesn't have.
Exactly.
It can't just be that it wins every time.
No, exactly. No. The only instance where it should be able to do all of those is if you're not meant to fight it yet. So let's say if you're in a campaign and you introduce the players to a homebrew BBEG kind of thing you've made, give it all 3, like as a temporary thing to show the players how powerful it is. And then 40 sessions down the line, when they face it again, it might not have as much health, or it might not be as fast.
Yeah, they are now at the right level to be fighting it. Exactly. Well, we kind of covered some of the next question, but is balancing a homebrew creature hard?
It can be, definitely. If you're not used to it, especially with talking about D&D 5e, because I'm not overly familiar with the CR ratings for 1D&D yet, if it's changed at all. But typically when you're looking at creating a homebrew monster, it'll need to have a challenge rating. And let's say you've got a party of 4 or 5 people that are all level 5. Then they're expecting, I believe, this could be wrong, but generally, to face a few CR5 monsters a day. Per long rest. So if you face them against something, or if you're creating a monster and you're not sure on the challenge rating to give it, have a look at similar monsters, like the abilities, the health, the damage it does. If it matches like a CR 15, 17, whatever it is monster, it's probably too high. And it's that kind of thing. It's definitely difficult, but once you get used to it, not even that, once you test the monster out, it'll be very easy to see, all right, it needs more health, it needs less damage, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they can't see the stat block, so if it's doing a hell of a lot and not taking a lot, you can easily, they don't know that actually it'll only take 2 hits to kill it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It probably didn't, you had 400 HP on the thing, but now you don't, so because you've seen in this situation that you need to change that.
I think, and we've said this before, there's nothing wrong with changing things behind the DM screen, especially because you don't want to make a fight too easy. So let's say if you've planned a homebrew monster and it's done no damage, it can't move, and they're about to wipe it out. Maybe just don't obviously cheat them out of it, because this is if they've just gone in, done the minimal damage and still almost killed it, let's say. There's no harm with adding a bit of health there. Obviously don't double the health, double the damage, double the speeds. Just add bits at a time until you get it perfect.
Yeah.
And at the same concept, if, like you said, if it's got loads of health and loads of damage, just maybe give it a weakness. It doesn't even have to be reducing the health. Maybe after it's used a spell or an attack, it wastes a turn trying to flee because it needs to recharge that.
Yeah, we had it in on the server when I was running like demon bounties, things that were ridiculously high, and and they required multiple ways of trying to compute it. Sorry. And there was a point where there's like 10 players have signed up to fight this thing, and it is a challenge for 10 players. But, you know, they had worked their way around it, that they were kind of, its weaknesses, they've played against them, and then they've kind of trapped it, and it with all their abilities, and it can't move. So now something that's ridiculously powerful compared to them is completely pointless. And so what I did is, this thing happened to have 3 stages to it anyway, and what I did was I actually, whilst they were hitting it and it wouldn't move, I then started describing that it can't move, and they were like, brilliant, we're going to take this down. But hopefully they're thinking, God, this is boring actually, because we've just you know, that's right. But I then just said it was in a cocoon, like it actually, I'd broken it out of the thing, and like it then had its abilities, and they were like freaking out. And obviously I had to win that in that moment, but it's for them to have an experience. They might be winning, but if there's nothing involved, nothing memorable that they're doing during the win,
exactly,
yeah, you want it to be fun for them.
Yeah, we've said in the previous episodes that you shouldn't necessarily fudge rolls to cheat players out of an easy win if they've earned it with a load of nat 20s or something like that. But at the same time, I don't think anyone really likes a combat where, let's say if you successfully trap something, that's great. But if it's got 500 hit points and you're just round after round, I swing to hit. 20 minutes down the line, you're going to be like, right, yeah, I just swing again. Like, there's no harm in adding something to balance that, as long as you're doing it for the enjoyment and not just thinking, oh, I spent an hour creating this monster and you're about to kill it easily. Like, it needs to be for the players. It's
probably, if it's boring for you, it's probably boring for them.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Okay then, have you ever reskinned a creature that exists in the D&D world?
Oh, plenty of times. Yeah. There's even just, not even necessarily physically or the name of it, but there's no harm in taking a creature that you have and giving it an extra ability, or maybe taking away vulnerability, because it's, let's say you've got a creature that's vulnerable to fire, but it has been trapped in a volcano for 100 years or something.
Yeah.
In that situation, maybe it's become accustomed to it, so take away the vulnerability, give it a fire ability, something like that, the ability to control it.
And reskinning, by the way, is a case of like taking something that already exists and then just like giving it another purpose. It could be literally an appearance like the reskinning, or it could just be new abilities, but the idea is that you're using it in a different way.
Yeah. Which I think you should always try and do at least once in a campaign, just because, especially, you're going to get players that know how to deal with things, and whilst they might not actively want or try to be, being meta with it and being like, oh, I know this one has a vulnerability, so I'm going to change my thing. If you've already planned for it not to, and they do that, they're going to be so surprised and actually, in a good way, confused, thinking, like, fuck, how do we actually fight this thing then? If it's not got the one thing I know it to have.
Last question. How do we feel about players giving ideas for future creatures?
Oh, I love it. Like, I don't see anything wrong with things like that, unless if they're being pushy with it, like, or in
but they clearly want to fight that, and you're like, well, that's not how this works.
If a player comes to me, let's say a week before I start a campaign, with a changed backstory, saying, by the way, I added this monster that massacred my family, I've homebrewed it, here it is, or it's this kind of monster, can we put this in the campaign because I want to fight it at the end? I'd probably do it, but it's a bit, I don't know.
I wouldn't let it be the monster they fight at the end.
I think it's just a bit scummy to impose that on a DM story, because the player should have no influence other than when the DM uses their backstory and things. They should have no influence on the actual campaign itself until you're in it.
It's meant to be an adventure, and an adventure is like not knowing where it's going to go.
Exactly.
That's why I like it being like the end game boss. Yeah. It's like you're just ratting everyone else out of their opportunity to enjoy something. But
on the same token, there's no harm in a player saying, oh, I really like the idea of this kind of monster, and the DM saying like, all right, I'll see what I can do, see what I can create.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I like the idea of that. I usually don't want to just take what they've got.
Yeah.
I like the idea of
twisting
well, literally reskinning their idea, and taking it and them going, fuck, I didn't want that. And kind of regretting it is kind of fun. Yeah. Not in a, in a sadistic way. They what they thought was going to be good and challenging, clearly it wasn't, because they thought of it. They knew there was a way. But then taking it and going, I had no plan to be fighting something like this.
Exactly. And I think as well, when a player knows something is coming and then it happens, it's great, they'll be excited, but they won't be surprised. So if you twist it a bit, then they will have the excitement, the fun, and the surprise, and then it's just...
Definitely.
There's no way you can't enjoy that.
Nice.
One comment I will say, I thought of earlier, but I forgot to say it, is if you're creating, and this is mainly for new DMs, but anyone in general, if you're creating a homebrew creature or monster or whatever it is, you give it a name or an ability name or something like that, and you say it, you tell your players, and they laugh at it, just add a few extra D20 or D12s on the damage. Yes. Yeah. You can always do that. That will stop them from laughing and make them run in fear from Mr. Poopy Butthole or whatever.
Say what you want,
it.
Goofy's still a stupid name.
Exactly. Yup.
Okay, today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We'll be back again next week with the topic vacuum or fishing rod. Which one's the right tool for a colonoscopy?
Ooh, a fishing or a vac rod.
A vac rod?
Vac rod.
That's what I call it. Okay, and as always, thank you for tuning in. If you like joining on the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at How to Play D&D, or check out the link in our bio to join our Discord server. And for BTS of sessions, bloopers, blogs, early access to episodes, and even live Q&As, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/howtoplaydnd. And I should probably say we also are on Threads. So, I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.